The Klondike has perpetually been a place of both joy and sorrow. However, the drama isn't unfolding in the gold this time. Fields. It's taking place inside the context of the most influential mining family in the history of the Gold Rush. Rumors are circulating in Dawson City and among fans that the renowned Klondike king Tony Beets may have made a daring and controversial choice that could change the Beets empire for life. The gossip has it that Tony has decided to exclude his eldest son, Kevin Beets, from inheriting the family fortune and taking over the enterprise. If this turns out to be genuine, it will change the legacy of the Beets family and make fans question what may have caused the rift between the father and son. You must return to the source of the rumors in order to grasp their seriousness. In 1961, Tony Beets came into this world in the sleepy Dutch village of Weegdeens. Growing up on a dairy farm, he had to start working as a young child and was responsible for the care of the land and livestock while most of his peers were still in elementary school. Nonetheless, aspirations were severely curbed by the Netherlands' stringent agricultural regulations. Tony was fed up by 1979. He took a plane to Canada with barely $2,000 in his pocket, driven by the hope of better opportunities. Tony moved north to Dawson City, Yukon, after working for a little while as a dairy hand in Calgary. Here he discovered his life's work, gold mining. Tony was unique because of his dogged determination and his reluctance to give up no matter how difficult the situation got. He and his wife Minnie risked their entire fortune, $18,500, on a piece of land that could have gone bankrupt in 1989, the paradise he would claim. Rather, it was the foundation upon which the Beets' prosperity rested. Tony then went on to completely alter the Klondike mining industry. As a result of his efforts to revive dormant dredges, implement cutting-edge technology, and construct an operation, he is now officially king of the Klondike. No one has ever claimed authorship of Tony's narrative. With the support of many, he brought up 3 children, Kevin, Monica, and Mike, all of whom would go on to make names for themselves in the mining industry. The eldest, Kevin, appeared to be destined to take over as Beets' leader. He learned the ins and outs of dredge mechanics and mine operations working side by side with his father on the claims when he was just 13 years old. He became the household authority on maintaining complicated machinery over the years. As a fan of Gold Rush, you saw him mature from a nervous youngster into a self-assured operator, Tony's steadying influence in the midst of his erratic behavior. Monica, who was also known as the boss lady, was just as formidable. Her strong desire to bring the company up to date and her analytical thinking have allowed her to carve out a position of leadership for herself. The youngest, Mike, is very good at managing logistics, making sure everything runs well across different claims, and keeping equipment in good working order. It appeared as though the Beets children were ready to continue their father's business. But now there are whispers that Kevin, one of them, is being abandoned. Tony and Kevin's relationship hasn't always been roses, as anyone who has watched Gold Rush can tell you. Supporters have seen the two engage in intense confrontations for a long time. Kevin wants to show Tony how capable he is, but Tony's no-nonsense and occasionally harsh attitude is getting in the way. Disputes escalated in 2018 as a result of the Viking Dredge project. The audience recoiled in horror as Tony scolded Kevin for managerial gaffes. These tense exchanges were about more than simply television. They seemed to be pointing to more systemic problems in the family unit. Tony declared in 2023 that he was withdrawing from operational mining. Divisions in leadership would occur. There was a noticeable absence of Kevin's name among Monica's responsibilities in administration and Mike's in charge of the Indian River claims. There was an ear-piercing quiet. The goalkeeper then arrived. Word on the street is that Kevin had nothing to do with Tony restoring the enormous dredge number 4. Fans found Kevin to be the family's go-to dredge expert, so his absence was more than simply perplexing, it was downright suspicious. Rumors started circulating in Dawson City around the end of 2023. Rumors circulated, unsubstantiated but persistent, that Tony had rethought his succession plan and omitted Kevin from it. The empire would instead go to Mike and Monica. If this turns out to be the case, the decision would be completely, very explosive. Kevin has played a pivotal role in the operations of the Beets for over 10 years. What he knows about dredges saved the family millions, all by themselves. Many would see removing him from the situation at this time as a betrayal. Speculation has been rampant within the fan community. Was the father-son relationship finally broken after years of tension? Is Tony no longer confident in Kevin as a leader? Or is it just wild speculation started by the drama of the gold rush that spreads throughout the mining camps? The Beets family continues to lay claim to the throne even as Kevin Beets emerges from his father's shadow. Gold Rush viewers have followed the Beets family as they amass a fortune in the Yukon through years of hard work and perseverance. Tony Beets, the renowned Klondike monarch who transformed a small claim into a powerful mining family, is the center of attention. However, a major turning point was shown to the audience in Season 15. Kevin Beets, Tony's eldest son, has done what any son would do, broken away from the family business. That was a daring move, and fans had been waiting for it for seasons. For a long time, Kevin has been considered the most mechanically gifted child in the family. He has the intelligence and will to revive even the most weathered dredge. Firefights with Tony revealed a guy determined to forge his own way, though. That was his precise action in Season 15. Kevin rose to the position of boss. Despite his macho demeanor, Tony Beets is a brilliant thinker. His offspring would be able to inherit the mining world he battled so hard to win, thanks to the wealth and legacy he built over decades. Tony did not see Kevin's independence as a sign of rebellion. The Beets dynasty was further cemented with this release. Tony granted his son Kevin independence and responsibility by letting him be in charge of his own crew. It was not a plan with a safety net. It was imperative that Kevin demonstrate his independence from Tony's daily orders, and indeed he succeeded. Season 15 saw Kevin taking charge of the operation without his father's constant supervision. He dealt with the same pressures that Tony did, and viewers noticed it. Mechanical failure, shaky terrain, and the incessant Yukon climate. Instead of crumbling under the pressure, Kevin demonstrated his independence by his instincts, self-control, and self-assurance. Once upon a time, Kevin wasn't merely Tony's son or the mechanic for the Beets family. He presided over his mind. That change was crucial, especially for the fans. It marked the end of an era and the start of a new chapter in the Beets' history. However, Kevin's independence is just the beginning of the story. The gold that Kevin extracted from the ground was nonetheless added to the Beets family total at the end of the season, in a twist befitting a mining dynasty. Because of that, his achievement wasn't entirely his. As Tony Beets' empire expanded, it became a part of it. It was a very remarkable season. Tony and Kevin's combined operation smashed the 5,000 gold goal by almost 700 ounces, yielding an incredible 5,777.12 ounces of gold. To win wasn't the only word. That was the stuff of legends. Tony took great pride in declaring it himself. After 40 years of mining in the Klondike, this was the highest concentration of gold he had ever achieved. To a man, it was the most satisfying victory for someone who has encountered every possible difficulty in the Yukon. The tension between individuality and responsibility is one of the story's most intriguing aspects. The Beets family name was bolstered by Kevin's labor, even though he went away to start his own company. Pound for pound, he proved he could hold his own apart from Tony. They solidified the Beets' status as the gold mining industry's elite. An astute move on Tony's part was to encourage Kevin to strike out on his own. It strengthened the family rather than breaking it apart. Now that Monica and Mike have shown their leadership skills as well, the Beets empire is about more than just one man. The story covers many generations of a family's lineage. The 5,777.12-ounce season meant more than just the money to Tony Beets. It was evidence that his leadership, perseverance, and sacrifice over the years had been worthwhile. He not only hit his career high total, but he also saw his kid become an influential leader. For a father who created an empire out of nothing, seeing his children become rulers of their own domains rather than dependents was the pinnacle of success. The inevitable continuation of the Beets family legacy. One question remains more pressing than ever before as viewers eagerly await the return of Gold Rush for a new season. Kevin, what's your next move? Is he going to keep doing his own show and create his own empire alongside his dad's? On the other hand, will he forever be associated with the Beets moniker, so cementing Tony's laborious dynasty? Without a doubt, Kevin Beets has demonstrated his ability to lead. And Tony Beets has cemented his position as the patriarch of one of the most enduring legacies in reality TV history, in addition to being a Gold King. Season 15 ultimately did more than simply award Tony his highest gold haul. The most definitive evidence that the Beets empire is doing more than just surviving was given to fans by it. It's developing, maturing, and getting ready for what's to come. Now that Kevin is a star in his own right, the narrative of the Beets family is more interesting than it has ever been.